Welcome to the Fireplace, a warm and welcoming space where we discuss all things cultural diversity and multiculturalism. In this episode, I talk to a special person who is leading a community here in Australia, and I'll let him introduce himself. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Edward. My name is Michael Puso, and I'm the president of the Australian Myanmar Friendship Association of Queensland. We have a headquarters set up in Logan City Council areas in Kingston, and we've been here for the past 10 years, although our association has been in functioning since 1995. It was only in 2005 when our refugees started coming in, and we've sort of changed the focus of our community organization from a social club into a multicultural support group. And we've been very successful in obtaining this facility here in Kingston from the Logan City Council, and we've been running a lot of community support work from this place. Basically, we have a lot of in Logan City. The majority of the migrants, the Burmese migrants, are one of the largest groups of migrants in Logan City Council, and we have been catering to these groups, the different groups that are here situated in Logan City. As you know, Burma, or Myanmar as it is now called, is a very complex country where we have 135 different ethnic groups officially listed as living in our country, and a lot of the migrants that have come here recently after 2010 are from the ethnic minorities on the border areas of Burma, who have not had any education or social or health support from the government.
Right.
And they have run away and they've come here. They do not speak a national language. And when they come here, they have difficulty with the language and getting access to the community supports that is provided by the Australian government.
Right.
We have a few different functions that we take care of every year. First of all, our objective of our association is to maintain and showcase the cultural and traditional heritage of our Burmese people. And a lot of our refugees, especially the younger children who were born in camps, have no experience of the Burmese culture. So one of the things that we do is that every year we hold functions on some of the biggest festivals in our country, like our New Year celebration, which is called the Tinjan. In Burma, it takes place over a stretch of 3 to 5 days, depending on the year.
Wow.
And we throw water at each other, and it has its base in the traditional culture of tending to the elders on the last days of the year, and to wash away their sins. The people used to go out and wash the hair and things like that of the elders. But after a while, people said, okay, why don't we make something more enjoyable if we have to do this? So we started throwing water at each other, and it's a very, very big event. Everything stops in our country.
Wow.
So a lot of our children that come over here, they were born in camps and all that, so they have no experience of that. So we try to give them that experience to learn about the traditions and cultures of us. We also have a light festival and other festivals which we bring out every year by having big events on those days. The other part of it is to provide community support services to our people. A lot of our ethnic minorities are not literate enough to be able to learn English competently, and they have problems when they start going to Australian organizations for their support in terms of health or education, uh, uh, licenses, administrative things,
Yeah.
or even passports and things like that. So we have a group that sits here every week and invites people who want help with that to provide them with help.
Wow.
And also we have some of our staff, some of our members and EC members who work for different multicultural organizations where we give them, because a lot of them are illiterate and they have no understanding of health and nutritionist uh, principles. So we have health and nutritional information sessions for all the people. And we also have things like swimming lessons and health checks and all every week here, running it from our all year. But basically, the other objective that we have is to showcase our Burmese culture to the wider Australian society of in Brisbane, and so we invite all our multicultural friends from the other communities, called communities. We go and help them when they have shows and all that by participating in dances or songs, giving traditional Burmese traditional heritage to showcase them to the other cultural groups. We also have contacts with our members of parliament and ministers and all in terms of support for our communities and our people back in the state, back in Burma. Like we had a coup and we have a running insurgency or a civil war back in Burma for the past 4 years since the military coup. We've had earthquakes, we've had floods, and we provide humanitarian support.
Wow.
We do fundraising for humanitarian efforts in Burma.
Right.
And recently we have another arm of our Burmese community called the Committee for Restoration of Parliaments in Burma, which deals with the political side of our problems in Burma. And we sort of coordinate with them in terms of fundraising. And every month we have a fundraising food fair to collect funds for humanitarian and other help for the people who are in the jungles now, hiding from the military.
Right.
So we have a full program, and the past 4 years has been very stressful because it's an ongoing thing that's been having 4 years, and we are having to struggle to maintain not only the health and well-being of our diaspora here in Brisbane and Queensland, but also to help out with the humanitarian efforts in our country.
Wow, it's a very huge task.
Yes, it is.
It can be draining and emotionally consuming for people behind that. But you touched about how you are making sure that some traditions from Burma or Myanmar are sustained here in Australia, like the water throwing event for the children. How are you making sure that these cultures transition to the next generation and making sure that they are sustained whilst here in Australia?
Well, having these festivals and all is not a one-day event, if you know what I mean. We have to teach the young children, the youth, dances and things like that. So we have people teaching them how to dance and dance groups and music groups. Also, like one of the other things is that we run a Burmese language course class here every week. We've been running it since 2015.
I just noticed young children and young people coming over to the center and for that purpose.
Yeah. So we have them. We've been having them for 10 years now, nearly over 10 years now. We maintain it. I mean, the children grew up and become adults, but they learn the basics of our language, the Burmese language, which is not spoken by a lot of the ethnic minorities here because they have no experience with associating with the mainstream big city Myanmar citizens because they are in the border areas and they come from camps where they are born in the camps and they've never had the experience of the Burmese culture in our country. Uh, but again, we teach them the language class is not an academic class. It's more of a traditional culture class where we give them the basics in the traditions and things about respecting elders. The Burmese society, like most Middle Eastern, African, and Asian countries, are more of a patriarchal society where elders, even though they're 1 day older or two, are respected and are expected to show respect to the elders and try to behave in a way that actually respects the culture of the elders and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to train them in when they come here, and they as you can see, some of them are very young. It's good to catch them when they are young so that we can ingrain them with this culture of the Burmese culture of showing respect, even in the classroom, to maintain their stance or whatever it is and the way they talk to people and the elders and the teachers. And again, we have a Burmese word for teacher, which actually does not actually mean a teacher. It does say there you teach, but it's a word that carries across all areas of government, also where anyone who is your superior is called that word, which is equivalent to a teacher, which means that you respect them and you show them that you learn from them, not only in the classroom but even in everyday life. So that's the way that we train them, and we've had over 10 years of this. And a lot of the people who have young people who have grown up through this training have gone away. They can't sit for an exam in Burmese language or whatever it is and pass exam maybe, but they've learned the traditions and the cultures, and we try to teach them all the different ways and all the different festivals. And one of the things about language and culture is that you cannot teach culture in a classroom.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Culture is something that is ingrained into you. You experience the culture. You've got to learn the literature. You've got to learn the poems. You've got to learn the sayings and the different things in real life by talking to them and listening to people. So that's what we try to teach them. Not so much the academic side of learning Burmese as it is, but just to teach them that that a culture is not something that you can learn from a book.
No.
It's something that you have to learn by associating and living that culture. So that's what we give them here.
Wow.
And we hope that we've spread that thing to a lot of people. And again, we have a lot of kids coming over. Some of the younger groups that come and they say, we don't speak Burmese and things like that to our functions. And we talk to them and we tell them, at least you see what we do, especially the throwing the water and all that. It's not a vicious thing. It's just fun where we throw water. And one of the understandings of our Burmese water festival is that you are not allowed to get angry. Okay, you don't get angry. You can say anything to anybody. It's all in fun. It's a joke, and people accept it in good faith that people are just dragging you a little bit and to learn how not to be offended by everything that you learn, which is something that the modern world nowadays is not learning very much. So we try to ingrain that. The world is not a very fair place, if you know what people say. Like my children, sometimes when the younger people in every culture, they say, that's not fair. Life is not fair. You know what? You have to face things and be strong enough to overcome the things. So that's one of the things we teach them, that you take things as they come, accept what is acceptable. If it gets over the board, if it over things, then you can react. But other than that, take it in good faith and say it's a learning lesson. Experience. People say, "Oh, we've had a bad experience." A lot of people in business tell you, if you look at all the big millionaires and billionaires, they say that business, you never succeed at once. You fail, but you learn from that failure and say, "Oh, I failed in this. Maybe next time I can do better." And so failure and sort of experiences are not bad. It's a step that you have to overcome to get success, and to be able to go through life with that outlook that is positive, and not feel sort of offended or feel small or disappointed with life, because life is a very short thing. You may think that it's a long period, but you go through life, and when you get older, you look back and say, why have I spent all my life being miserable and being things like that? You got to live your life and take experiences as an experience that will teach you how to accept similar situations in the future. So that's a culture that we try to teach the children.
Wow, that's deep. Just to tap from your experience as somebody who has lived in Australia, coming from a different country, and what has been your, what would you say are the challenges that culturally diverse people face in terms of getting employment, but also as a community leader, what issues do you deal with as you see your community integrating and settling in a new community society?
The biggest problem is a language barrier. Like I said, a lot of our refugees come from border ethnic minority areas, where they are not even literate in their own dialect. Don't talk about learning the national language or the English. And the problem with that is that some of them have been in camps for 25 years, 20 years, 25 years. And the Australian system, when they arrive here, is that they send to TAFE for 500 hours. And then I've spoken about this to anybody who will listen to me. 500 hours, and then they go on for another 400 hours of AMEB or whatever they call it. And the people who have never been in a classroom all their lives, who are illiterate in their own language, they're 50-year-old, 60-year-old, they're never going to be learning anything in an academic college. You know what I mean? So they sit through the hours and they just grind through it. They keep their head down so that they don't expose their illiteracy. And so when they finish, they don't learn much. And so a lot of it is a language problem. And I keep telling people, Australia is very organized. They've got set programs for everything. The only thing is that people are not like T-shirts. One size doesn't fit all. And I'm sure that a lot of people, your people, have learned that also. So one size doesn't fit here. Or like they say, they've got racing stables where we send our elephants, and the elephants can never become racehorses, if you know what I mean. So things like that makes it a little difficult. And we have a lot of people who have studied here, and even in our groups, we have a lot of people in older people, not the younger people. The younger people learn very quickly and assimilate very easy. But what happens is that they've never learned Burmese. The older people have never managed to learn English. So what happens in the house is that the parents can't speak to their children, and there's a language gap there. Sometimes when you go and visit them, the parents say, "Can you come in so that we can talk to you for a while?" Because my son doesn't understand Burmese and I don't understand English. So there's that little problem in a lot of things like that. The other problems that we have is that, I'm sure this is the same in all African and Middle Eastern and Asian countries, where we have problems with health, mental health mostly, and also like domestic abuse and things like that. Uh, like I said, it's a societal culture that we have in our country where whatever you do reflects on the family and on the community. So, for instance, for mental health, we have a lot of people who are suffering because they're traveling, they have moved over to a different culture altogether, who are actually in a trauma because they can't associate with people, they don't know what to do. And if you go and tell them, maybe you should see a psychiatrist, they won't talk to you anymore because of the stigma of mental health.
Yeah.
In our country, I don't know about your countries or but in our country, we don't have mental health. You either sane or the other side of sane, okay? And if you the other side, you sent to an asylum or whatever it is. So people don't talk about it. And as an elder or a leader, if you go and talk to someone about a situation, mental situation, they won't come and talk to you anymore. They'll say you're bringing shame to our family, and even the parents and even the community will say, "Don't talk about it. We don't want to talk about it," and they cut you off.
And that's really a very, very, very important point, considering that it all boils on the act of integrating into a society,
Yeah,
and also the act of belonging, a sense of belonging to the community, and probably it's also fueled by issues to do with racism, isolation, discrimination, and all sorts of the negatives that
yeah,
that can bring to a
yeah.
person and the community.
The thing is, like most of these people live in small villages. There is no schools, there's no hospitals, and all that. And what do you do when you finish in the evening or whatever it is? A lot of them take to drink. They drink. You know, they take alcohol. When I say alcohol, it's not bought from the BSW or BWS or whatever it is. They make their own or whatever it is out of anything, or else they take, like in the hilly regions, they take opium. They take opium. You know what I mean? And so what happens is that they come here and they when they come here, they feel that they're missing out in the social life, you know, things like that. So there's a lot of problems with drink and things like that, which you can't talk about it to them, you know, they don't accept it. The other thing is that when you try to say, even like betel nuts and all, they chew the betel nuts and they keep spitting it here. It's an offense here. And we keep telling them and they say, that's the only thing we know what to do, you know. So it's very difficult to get rid of the culture that they have been living in. And so it's one of the problems is the biggest thing is the stigma. You talk to them about mental health or dementia or what alcoholism and all that. They as an elder, they won't come and talk to you or they won't tell you their problems anymore. The other one is domestic abuse. When you have people, husbands drinking, or even the wives, you know, because it's very cold in the hilly regions. You know, they've got to have something to keep them warm. So they drink. Even the wives drink. The females drink. And so if you go and talk to them, the other one is domestic abuse. There's lots of it. It's rife here. But if, for instance, I had an occasion where there was a problem between a young couple with 3 children, and they have arguments and the things like that. And at one time they came and said, "Oh, we want to separate, we want to divorce," and things like that. And it got so bad that one day I think the husband sort of manhandled the wife a little bit, and the police came and they were sent to court and things like that, and they were given. And I talked to them. I said, you know, you've got 2 girls and a son in the mid-teens, teens. You may want to divorce, but you know that when you break up, the trauma gets transferred to the children, and they get into problems. You have to think about it. And so I recommended that they go and see the counselor and the mental health things and all that. And what happened was that there was a restriction order, whatever you call it, there, and they got it. But the thing is that the father wants to see the children want this boy, and they broke up. But the thing is that they never came to see me anymore. They didn't talk about it anymore. Not because they don't want to bring it into the limelight and talk about it, because it brings shame to the community. It brings shame to the family, especially the elders. They'll say, "Oh, what? It's a shame you can't come and shame us like that." So that's the other problem. So we try to have them, given them classes. Today we have health literacy. We're running a course for health literacy for our seniors and things. So we do try to give them information sessions and all that every now and then. And we've been running quite a few programs in the past 3-4 years, expanding our reach out to the people. But it's very difficult because government gives us grants, if you apply for it.
Yeah.
But the thing is very limited in what you can do with that grant. You have to give up. You have to put up a list of what you want and what you want to spend it on, and then it's given down. Then when we finish with it, we have to give an acquittal to say we spent it on this. We can't spend it on other things. But there's a lot of things that can't be written down or listed in our expenses and things like that. So it's very difficult. And the other thing is that we get questioned by people saying, "Oh, you get government grants. What happens? What have you all used it on?" Not understanding. We have to explain to them that government grants are not given, on just a big grant. Say, "You go and spend it any way you want. You've got to spend it according to what you've done."
Yeah.
And we need to get the expertise and the experts to come and convey what we want to give them. We just can't say whatever we want to say or teach them. We have to get people to come in, experts and people who are trained in giving the information in a structured way and things like that. So it's a lot of problems. And again, all of us are working for our own living. We are having to resettle here in Australia. We have our own problems with our children. We have our own children work, things like that. So that's the other problem. And that's mental health and domestic abuse and things like that. The other problem is in the employment.
Yeah.
A lot of our people that come here, a lot of our refugees, like I said, they have not been trained in anything. They don't have certificates and things like that. So when they come here, they are experienced gardeners, they are experienced carpenters, they are mechanics, they are tradesmen, but they don't have the paperwork, and they don't have the English to go and get a certificate. And in Australia, even to become a cleaner, you need a certificate. You know what I mean? So it makes it very difficult. And I've been advocating with whoever I can talk to, even people like Jim Chalmers or Cameron Dick or Senator Paul Scott, to say that rather than make them go and sit for an exam to get a certificate in whatever it is, can we have a sort of an apprenticeship program where they go and work in the industry that they are trained in or they are expert in, and while they are working or while they are apprentices, they will learn the language they need while they are working, and then maybe 6 months, 1 year, they can become productive, tradespeople.
Right.
And that's something that I think I spoke up at the meeting the last time when you were there.
Yeah.
And a lot of our people are really talented in terms of gardening and carpentry and things like that. But again, like I said, they can't find work because they don't have the certificate, and they are never going to pass the exams because that's how they are. They are, like I said, they are illiterate even in their own dialect. So those are the main areas that we try, and we try to hook them up with groups. Like I was a director with ECCQ for a while, so I've got contacts with them. One of our EC members works for ECCQ. When my vice president works for SSI, before was Access. So we reach out to them and we try to put them in wherever we can, even if only for volunteers or daily wages and things like that. And that's we're trying to get. We've got a lot of young doctors who have recently migrated here. Uh, they have to sit for an exam to be qualified, even though they are qualified doctors in our country. You've heard that story before from every country. So they are now working as with NDIS groups and all as medical literacy advocates and things like that, helping out with programs and all that. And so we're trying to reach out. We've got two of them coming in today to teach them about health literacy. It's a program run by between MATA and the Metro South in coordination with us. So we're working on expanding the area also. We've got a lot of doctors and engineers. Engineers are a little easier; they can work in the industry without becoming engineers, but in the supervisors and all that. And doctors, we have a lot of very experienced doctors and dentists who come here after they retired, 60-year-old, 70-year-old who are just sitting at home. Or we have one who used to work for UN who is still working as a consultant, but she can't work here. So there's a lot of manpower that can actually contribute to the economy wasted here because they can't work in there. We had one girl who was a doctor who came here and couldn't get a doctor's job because she hadn't sat for the exam. So we advised her to go and work as a nurse. So she took a nursing course and went and worked as a nurse. 2 or 3 years ago, because she wasn't qualified, I didn't have the certificate yet. She had to go and work in the north in one of the smaller cities. Anyway, she's back here now. She's working as a doctor after working through 4 or 5 years. So but she was a bit younger, so it's easier. But for people who's 50 and 60, they don't want to go through that anymore. And they're well established. They're rich enough not to work. So, but the thing is that Australia is losing the expertise. So there's a lot of things like when I came here, I came from Brunei, where I was a lecturer in automotive engineering for 16 years before coming. I worked in the automotive industry for over 25 years before going to Thailand, where I worked as a English editor for a PR firm, one of the biggest firms in the world. And before that, I worked for UNICEF, and I came UNICEF for 3 years as a administrative supervisor with transport and premise maintenance and things like that. I come here, and Melbourne TAFE is calling for trainers, automotive trainers in the TAFE courses. I apply and got a letter saying, your degree is too high, your expertise, you need to get a certificate 3 in automotive engineering, automotive mechanics. I'm not going to go back and get a certificate. I can pay $500 and get it, but I'm not going to go and do it. You know what? So in the end, I got a job with Brisbane. My wife is a Bachelor of Science in zoology, and in Brunei, she was teaching in the middle school for 10, 15 years. Then at the end, when we were about to come here, she came here and took a graduate MA at Griffith University. She graduated in 1 year, came here, and she applied to teach. And they said, oh, your MEd is not useful. You need to get a diploma in teaching from thing. So she didn't work. She went and worked as a program coordinator with MCC, Multicultural Community Center, working with refugees and all that. But the education system here is that you need a certificate for everything. And I think everybody's spoken about that, so I won't go too much about it. But the silly thing about this is that my engineering degree, because I graduated in 1968 under the British system and things like that, my engineering degree was recognized. You know what I mean? And Brisbane City Council was calling for overseas engineers, and they called me in, and I went in and I said, And they said, "Oh, we got a job for you, but first you've got to go to TAFE and take a course in English." I said, I teach English also. My mother had an English school and we teach English. Why do I need? Oh, this is Australian English. Anyway, since they paid for the 6-month course in English language, I went and attended the course. And it was, I didn't learn anything except that I learned a lot of Australian slang and things like that. You know what?
Yeah.
But anyway, I got a job. I've been there for 18 years now, working in the thing. Nothing to do with my automotive engineering or anything.
Yeah.
I'm doing development assessment, but it's. I mean, college and university doesn't teach you a trade. It teaches you how to use your head and how to use what you've learned in trying to adapt to whatever situation comes up. So it isn't difficult for that.
That's all we had for this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, thank you.